Okay. I see myself now. There we are. Can you
There
hear
we
me?
are.
Oh, there we are. Okay. There we go.
Arya, let me be clear here. We have a lot of Black men and women who are entering into the clinical, social, uh, mental health aspect. So, Mr. RAYSEAN Ford, I'm going to step off the stage and I would like for you to introduce yourself because in America, Black men and women feel that I don't need a psychologist. I'm healthy. As I have continuously said over the last 3 years, if you break a leg, you would go see a doctor. If you have a cavity, which is causing you extreme pain, you would go see a dentist. And if you have a splinter in your brain, if you feel suicidal, if you feel depressed, alone, and the holidays is just a week away from today. So, Mr. RAYSEAN Ford, MSW, LCSW, if you can first off explain what that means and then
Okay.
explain yourself. Please take it away, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. No problem. Well, first, let me just say good afternoon. And thank you so much again, Doug, for just allowing me, excuse me, to be here and just giving me the opportunity to be on this platform. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you giving me the chance to come on here and talk about how important mental health is for our community. So first question you asked is, what does the MSW LCSW mean? That basically means the MSW part means that I have a master's degree in social work. So shout out to all the social work students and MSWs out there. And then the LCSW stands for Licensed Clinical Social Worker. And basically what that is, it means that I've done over 3,000 hours of in experience work in the field, working with people, young people, adults, and had to take an exam, and so it pretty much just makes me licensed to take the exam and to have the experience. I've gained all the hours over the course of about 4 years. So yeah, that's all that means. It gives me an extra title, I guess, to professional title. But man, just to kind of piggyback on what you said, mental health is so important, especially in our community, man, and I just want to just take a couple moments to just share, what that means to me or how I kind of got into the field. You have a.
I want you to take as much time as you need
Okay.
to articulate and educate our people how important it is. In order for us to win this game, this mind warfare in America, we got to be strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
I commend you on your 3,000 hours. That's what Dr. Ashley Coleman just completed. And since then, her practice has been so overwhelming. And I am honored that you have come in. And I hope that you can come in once a week or once every 2 weeks or a couple times a month, because our people don't realize it is important. We're in a battle out here, and not just a fist to cuff, because everybody knows I throw them things.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a mind thing, Raymond.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, RAYSEAN. It's a mind thing. So you take it over and explain yourself, because we want to start getting more people in mental health therapy for Black and men and women. Take it away, sir.
Yeah. Just like you said, it's so important. I'll just start from the beginning. Well, I'll start with a statistic. Really, suicide is the second leading cause of death for, I want to say, hold on, I have my statistics here to my left, of young people aged 10 to 14. So I just want to start there, and that's a problem, right? That's a huge problem, that our young people are dying by suicide, and so we got to kind of take a step back and say, okay, what can we do? What can the adults do? And the first thing I want to say is we got to tap into our mental health. And you mentioned, Doug, me coming on, and I'm open to coming on as many times as you would have me, man, because I believe in this field of work. I believe in therapy. I believe in supporting our community through therapy. And I think it makes a huge change. It made a change in my life. It's made a change in many people's lives that are currently in therapy or have had therapy at some point in their lives. When we think about mental health, is not very accepted, in our community, in a lot of communities actually. There's this stigma of like, you're crazy, or I'm not gonna talk to anybody that doesn't know me, and I'm not gonna open up myself and go talk to them about my issues and about my problems.
I want to say I'm glad you brought that up, because I was one of those people who said, man, I ain't gonna see no quack. But I started seeing a therapist about 15, 20 years ago,
Awesome.
And it helped. So I wanted to share that ideology specifically with the people around my age, over 21.
Yep. And I'm glad you said that too, Doug. You said it helps, right? That's the biggest thing. And here's the thing: a lot of people can relate to you when they say they don't want to talk to anybody, a stranger. That I don't know. I'll use myself for example. When I was a kid, there were no therapists that looked like me. And that's actually kind of what led me to want to be in this field of work, is because I know that representation is so important, and we need to see people that look like us, that have our same experiences. And then we might feel a little bit more comfortable to sit down and talk about, what's going on, to talk about our trauma. When you live in poverty, or when you've experienced trauma, when you're around people that have experienced addictions and dealing with anger and conflict and anxiety and depression, there needs to be some kind of an outlet. You said it in the beginning that if you have a cavity or a broken tooth or whatever, you're going to go to the dentist, and they're going to give you some kind of support. They're going to give you some kind of treatment to support you and your tooth and your teeth. They're going to tell you, give you suggestions on what you can do or what you shouldn't do. That's the same thing when it comes to therapy. It's a non-judgmental space where people are allowed to come and process the things that are going on in their minds and in their hearts. And it gives them an opportunity to process this stuff and figure it out, learn, what triggers are, to learn what coping skills are. That's what I do in my practice. I'm teaching people how to, identify triggers in their lives so that they can prevent certain things from happening. Or how do you cope when you're dealing with so much anger, so much stress? What do I do? And I mentioned the statistic about suicide. We need to normalize it more in our communities of if I have a problem, if I have an issue, if I have a concern, I know who to go to, I know who to talk to. And that's why I said representation is so important, because if you see somebody that looks like you, that is in this field, or has some of your same your background or experiences, you might be more willing to talk to them. And that could save a life. That could save your own life or somebody else's life. Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but
no worries.
Because you're a young brother. And I know you and your brother are young Black men. And one of the reasons why this show has been so successful, especially representing the West Coast on the BlackUSA.News, is that we have young Black men like yourself, and your brother is an attorney. So, audience, this is the type of America that white folks are afraid of.
Yeah.
Black, young, intelligent men and women, because Dr. Ashley was a woman and we've had Black women on here. But it's so critical. It's so critical that we see men who look like you. We see women who look like Dr. Ashley. And my saying is, if you see it, you can be it. So I'm going to shut up on that note and turn it back
Absolutely. Over. No, I agree with that. You cut in anytime. If you see it, you can be it. The funny thing is that when I was growing up, I didn't see it. I didn't see any Black male therapists like when I was growing up, and as a young Black boy, I grew up in San Francisco, Hunters Point. And, our society, we know how it is. As a man, as a boy, you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to talk about your emotions. You're not supposed to, get into your feelings, because you're supposed to man up. You're supposed to get through it. And what does that do? Mentally, and emotionally, what does that do to us? That creates a disconnect between a natural feeling. So are you telling me I can't cry? Are you telling me I can't get into my feelings when I'm human and it's the natural part of who I am? And that's how I grew up, not supposed to do certain things. And it just didn't feel right to me. I always feel a special connection, spiritual connection, because I feel like God allowed me to go through certain things in my life so that I can now, as an adult, look back and say, oh, this is what happened and this is why, And it just never felt really right to me that, man, I got all this pent up anger and stress and I just don't know what to do with it. And there is something that you can do with it. One of the things that you can do is processing your stuff, your trauma, your anxiety, your anger in therapy. And, a lot of times it's a misconception that you're just in a room with somebody, your therapist, and, they got their notebook and, they're just listening to you talk and that's it. Therapy is interactive, right? It's supposed to be a relationship between you and the therapist where you create goals of what you want to work on. And those goals can be, whatever, right? I want to reduce my anger. I want to, get more support when I'm anxious. What can I do? And the therapist hopefully is creative enough to maybe play some games or do something to engage their client so that you can have more of a relationship and a talk to be able to like process different things that are going on. So, of course, in my therapy, of course, I take notes and stuff like that, but it's more of a conversation and it's a team effort to really support people. And I think that's what people need more and more is to feel supported, to feel heard and understood. And I believe that those rates of depression and anxiety, they can go down, they can reduce, in our communities if we have more space and if we normalize it more to go talk to a therapist. It's okay to cry. It's okay to talk about what's going on because that matters. You're human, right? And so that's what I've been practicing and I've been doing since I started this work 15 years ago, man. And it's a beautiful thing. And you mentioned it too, Doug, like you got into some therapy and it helped. Same with me, a lot of therapists have had their own therapy and still have their own therapy, right? Because we all need a space to just process, and sometimes it's not always good to go to your friend, your homie, or your family member, because they may not always give you the most healthy, response or advice. So with a professional, you can kind of get the support that you need to make healthy decisions.
Now, I want you to keep going on that note, but audience, when your son or your daughter is indoctrinated into a gang, this is the reason why. They don't have anyone to talk to. They don't have any intelligent dialogue on a path forward to make them successful. So when they don't have that, then they have to deal with these knuckleheads out here in the community that are leading our young people on a path of doom. So please continue forward, young man, because I love what you're saying. Thank you.
Yeah. And in the midst of that too, or what you just said, I want to kind of pause there that the earlier the better that we normalize mental health and that we start the idea of mental health. I work with kids elementary school and they are, happy to come to therapy, right? We're playing games, we're doing art, we're allowing them a chance to practice, or get used to. Oh, you had something to say? I can't hear you. Doug, I can't hear you. Are you on mute?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Well, wait a minute. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
My nephew, who is 10 years old, can you explain briefly how important it is to start your youth or your young people in therapy? Because I brought it up because a lot of people go, oh, he don't need therapy. It's too late when it's 18.
Yeah.
It's too late when it's 15. Start when it's time. So can you explain briefly on that? Because many people don't get their children into therapy and they need therapy sometimes more than older people. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And just the perfect example, like I said, the earlier, the better. And a lot of times people think, oh, you have to have a problem, right? Well, what is a problem? We all got problems, but a lot of times people think that it has to like come to the mental health has to be, bad for you to go to therapy. that doesn't mean, you know, you can start therapy at any time, right? Because you want to be in a healthy mindset always. That's what we're learning in therapy, how to manage the stress of life, because we all know, everybody watching, that life is hard, life is stressful, and it throws things at us left and right every day, all the time. And sometimes we just need a release. So the earlier we start that, if we talking to kids in elementary school, and we're telling them, this is how you navigate. If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling angry, your little nephew right there, this is what we do. We can go outside. We can vent. We can draw. We can write. We can listen to music. These are the things that I see you showing something right there. These are things that we can do to help mitigate and kind of support us during our stress. And if you learn early, then when you're an adult, you remember those same messages. It's just like clockwork. It's just your mind and your body is on program because you've learned it for so long, you know? So how much healthier would we be as a community if we taught therapy in preschool, right? This is what you do. And the good thing is that schools now, we have social emotional learning. So schools are already doing it anyway, which is good. But I think it takes more than just the school, right? We need families and parents and the community as a whole to embrace mental health, because if we embrace it as a whole, everybody will kind of it feels different and looks different. You can't just preach mental health at school. No, it got to be at school, at home, at church. It has to be everywhere. It takes a village, right? So that's just something that I wanted to share, that yeah, the earlier the better. I can't hear you.
I just want to say, RAYSEAN, we have people already commenting in regards, and I'm going to go to the private chat, and the reason I'm going to comment exactly. I am out today, and Doug is running. Okay, now that's to me. One of the things people are saying is that we have to be strong here in order to fight out there.
Absolutely.
And don't be afraid to put your emotion, especially the men. Don't be afraid to put your emotions on the line and let people know that you need help, because our children are being eaten up by the predators in the community. And without having strong Black men and women, Black men like you, RAYSEAN Ford, and Black women like Dr. Ashley Coleman, who has been here from day one, talking to people. We don't have enough Black therapists out there making a difference.
No, we don't.
And I don't have anything against white therapists, but white people don't understand Black people.
I hear what you're saying. It's you got to be able to understand and have that. Right. It's a different feel when you can share some of the same experiences with somebody that you're talking to. Now, that's not to say that, you know, white, because I've had some white therapists and it's worked out pretty good, you know. So that's not to say to any of the white viewers or whatever that are therapists that they don't work, but it adds another layer of support, of welcome. If I can talk to somebody that knows my experience, you know, it feels different. It looks different when you can talk to somebody that knows your experience. And yeah, that's, you know, if we can reach, however we can reach people, you know, to embrace their mental health and engage in therapy, that's what we need to do. So I think, like you said, we have a diverse community. So we need to have diverse professionals in every area of profession, right? Including the mental health profession, more people of color therapists, male, female, LGBTQ. We have to be able to support our community because we're so diverse, especially in the Bay Area, you know, and we want to heal. We want to be a healthy community. So we got to be able to support everybody that's within our community.
Well, I would like to say this, Mr. RAYSEAN Ford, who has 3,000 hours of clinical service.
Yeah.
So and I already know about that from Dr. Ashley.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Can you tell our audience that goes from coast to coast, border to border. And I got a call about 6 weeks ago from a brother in Shanghai, China, who watches.
Oh, wow.
Can you tell our viewers what you do now in relationship to increasing the mental? Because I don't care how much weight you lift, how strong you are. If you do not have it up here, you have lost. So can you tell our audience what you do? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm a therapist in the school district. I work for West Contra Costa Unified School District, and I had mentioned a few seconds ago, or a few minutes ago, that the earlier the better, right? And so a lot of schools have social emotional learning embedded into their program, and that's what I do. I work in the school district, and I work with elementary, middle, high school students and individual therapy. So it's starting early with these kids. We're making a difference with these kids. They're connecting. They're learning how to process their emotions. They're learning how to process their trauma, and they're doing it in a safe space.
And when you said connecting, that is a key word.
Mm-hmm.
Our people cannot connect. I won't say with other nationality therapists, but when a young brother or young sister walks into a Contra Costa office and sees you, somebody who looks like them, look like their dad, looks like their uncle, looks like their nephew, how powerful, how powerful is that for you to connect easier and make the connection that I understand. I am you. Thank you.
Yeah, you have to meet people where they are, right? And so that's a big thing for me. I meet people where they are. If I'm in school, I'll show up to my sessions sometimes with my hat backwards, and I'm in my my chill clothes, because I can still do the same kind of work. I can still be professional. We can still have a good therapy session no matter what I'm wearing. Now, to a certain extent, you got to be professional, but you have to meet people where they are, and especially working with young people, with kids. You don't be afraid to be who you are. Don't be afraid to be yourself. And being myself, sometimes I like to dress down, and I can dress down and be able to still connect with folks, and be able to still have a session, a therapy session, that's going to be beneficial to their lives, and encourage them and show them, give them the support that they need. So yeah, just like you said, it makes a difference when you can meet people where they are.
Well, let me ask you something. People are concerned about the cost, and by you being in the profession, can you explain to people that the millions of dollars that are out there, whether you're insured or not, Medi-Cal or not, services that are rendered by the federal government or not, can you explain to our audience how easy it is to get the money, to get the help that's needed? And once again, I go back, when you break a leg and you go to the hospital, they may not charge you, but they're going to get you the medical help that you need, and figure out the resources that are out there that's going to help them be stronger up here. Because our people need to understand, if you're not strong up here, you're not strong in here. Hey, wait a minute. You see my City of Oakland little lapel?
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
I'm turning it over to you.
No, that's true, man. And in some cases, a lot of families, a lot of people don't have the resources are there, right? You have to do your research. You have to take that extra step sometimes to find find the therapy within your community. But the resources are there, and sometimes they're not there. So sometimes families have to work a little harder to get their family or get their loved one in therapy. But again, that goes back to, where is our attention? We have to put a lot of our attention and our time and our money into mental health services. Go ahead.
Let me say this. Many schools, I'm on a community police advisory board for the City of Oakland, and some of the one of the people is a member of the Oakland School Board board. Can the school board would rather for our young Black men and women, boys and girls, to get help before they do something stupid? So if you can talk about the help that is out there for children who are in kindergarten through 12th grade, who are experiencing mental issues that can make them suicidal. They may not feel like a man. They may feel like a woman. They may not feel LGBTQT plus. There are many Black boys and girls. I know some of our audience don't want to hear this, but don't know who they are. And then they commit suicide. Can you explain to our audience how important it is to have the mental therapy health by a brother like you, by a sister like Dr. Ashley, who can talk to our young kids and catch them. And let me say this again, catch them before they fall off the wagon and kill themselves or say, I'm out here by myself. So can you talk about that and how schools have resources to help them? Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, when I started, I quoted the statistic of suicide being the second leading cause of death for young people, I think 10 to 14. And so, like you said, we need a space in schools, in our communities, churches, everywhere, really to promote mental health and to give young people, a chance and an opportunity to talk about what's going on with them. I can't really speak to what's going on in the Oakland School District because I don't work in the Oakland School District, but I know for sure what West Contra Costa Unified School District is doing because I work there. And I know other school districts around the Bay Area are doing some of the same things, starting with social emotional learning and incorporating that in the classroom, meaning where a teacher is kind of looking out for signs and a teacher is promoting your emotions and giving being aware of his or her classroom and being able to support the people in his or her classroom. So, like I said, social emotional learning, and in most schools they have therapists. The battle right now is that there's not enough therapists. So school districts may have an overflow of kids that need to come in and see a therapist, but there may be a small amount of therapists at that campus, right? And so that's something I think overall throughout the Bay Area that a lot of people are experiencing, a lot of schools are experiencing. So again, more and more young people hopefully going to school to become therapists, so that they can inspire and go into these school districts and be there for these kids. And hopefully more schools get more funding to support mental health. So, yeah.
Let me ask you something. What made you decide to go into this field so that other people who may want to help our people mentally, because we do not have enough mental health therapists in the Black community, people who understand the plight of a Black person. So explain your road to mental health therapy and to help increase and strengthen mental health in our community. Thank you.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, when I was growing up, I didn't come across any therapist that looks like me. Matter of fact, I didn't see my first Black therapist until I was probably, no, I'll take that back. I did see a Black therapist when I was a teenager. She was a female therapist, but again, I didn't see many of us in the field. And that's kind of what pushed me to want to be a therapist and want to give back to the community. And so, yes, it's super important to, like I said, representation is so important because we have such a diverse community. It's important for us to reflect that in therapy and in different professions as well. So that's what encouraged me. And then, like I said, I grew up holding in a lot of emotions, experiencing trauma and not knowing what to do with that. And so, of course, as I went to school and as I started to learn, thankfully, my parents put me through school and gave me an opportunity to learn and to grow. And so through that, I'm like, oh, there's a place for me, right? There's a place for me to be able to support other people who look like me or who may have my experiences and give them some healthy tools to live and to manage their lives a little bit better. So that's kind of how I got into it. That's what inspired me because I didn't see enough of us. And so I'm like, we got to do it. And I'm hoping to inspire more. And that's what I'm doing now. I mentioned in the beginning of the show that I'm a LCSW. So I've been licensed now for about a year. And so my goal is to continue to grow and continue to inspire other young people to come into this field of social work and to learn and to grow. And I got some things kind of up my sleeve of mentorship and growing my practice and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what's to come, because I know it's very much so needed, not only in Oakland, but everywhere.
Well, let me be clear here. The way they're doing these donuts at night.
Oh,
the way
you hear that too, huh?
Yeah. The way they're shutting down bridges.
Mm-hmm.
The way they're having shootouts on Juneteenth.
I know.
The state of Oakland, as it relates to the mayor of Oakland being, and I'm gonna sidebar because I know we were supposed to go until 4:30, but this is such a great conversation that I'm gonna go close to 5 as possible. If I go over 5, my producer will hang me. So it's 4:40. We got 15 minutes.
Okay.
Audience, let me share this with you. We have so many Black boys and girls, teenagers who are hurting and don't know who to talk to. Moms and dads may not be at home or may not understand. I was fortunate to have my mother and father in my home, and my dad used to say, boy, you think you're going crazy, go out in the backyard, pick up all them bricks and take them on this side of the yard. And if you're still depressed, pick up all them bricks and take them on the other side of the yard. Wait a minute, RAYSEAN. You won't be depressed after that. You'll be too tired. But I say that to say this, especially in the city of Oakland. You live here in Oakland. You understand what is going on with the mayor being raided by the FBI, the first Black woman district attorney being recalled, and she's a civil rights attorney who argued a case with the Supreme Court and won. There are so many things, not just in Oakland, but in Baltimore, our sister city, and BlackUSA.News, Be More News, Donnie Glover, where we started from, the mastermind behind that. But as we wrap up, 2 things. First off, tell us what MSW is and LCSW. You see, I got you right up on the screen here. I want everybody to see. A licensed clinical social worker, service social worker, WA. Explain that and give a short summary of why it is so important that our people understand that this is a war.
Yeah.
I hear brothers and sisters who want to vote for Trump. Now, this is a political and business show. So, myself, I would rather go back to Africa than vote for Trump. But I say that to say this: we have so many Black and brown brothers and sisters who are who don't understand what's going on. And that's because there's some mental blockage. So as we wrap this up, share this time, and audience, I'm going to ask this young man to come back on the show. Now next week we'll be on because it's 4th of July, but to share his intelligence, his passion and desire to help our people become stronger, because we have very few people like you who can articulate and educate why it is important to talk to somebody. And we have a lot of Black people who watch the show who have insurance, who can afford therapy, and those who don't, they have programs in which you can afford to come talk to this brother, come talk to Dr. Ashley is in LA. So we're gonna to put all that work on you, man. But
That's
please
all good.
share why it's important as we wrap this up.
Yeah. So again, you can have me. I'll be on anytime you have me, man. I'm just again. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come here and just to talk about how important mental health is in our communities. And so, anytime, and hopefully next time I can come back with more statistics and resources as well too, because it's important that people know like what's out there, what's within their reach, because sometimes people don't have insurance or sometimes people don't know where to start. And so I look forward to coming back, and then I'll have more resources and give more information for people to take, and they'll feel like, okay, now I have something that I can kind of work with. But to your point of like why it's important is because we want to live. I'm assuming everybody wants to live in a healthy community, right? We don't want to have to go through um, the drama and the heartache of seeing people struggle with their mental health and not know what to do with it, right? And so, in order for us to be healthy, we have to take steps to get there. And one of the steps is opening up and engaging in therapy, so that I, as a young person, as a kid, can learn and can grow up to manage my life in a healthy way, to make healthy decisions, to think about others, and live a healthy life, which will build a healthy community. And so, like I said, we all want to live in neighborhoods and where we don't have to worry about people hurting us or harming us, right? And so, a big part of that has to do with people's emotional and mental health. If I can connect with somebody in therapy and I can talk about what's going on, or I can learn like the steps on how to communicate with somebody better, or I can learn what I have to do to go to the next level in my career. All of this stuff can happen in therapy. It's not just this one cookie cutter thing. It's so broad, and so many people can learn different things in therapy, and that's why it's so important. It's important to learn it at a young age, again, so that we can grow up and live healthier lives and make healthy decisions. If we start early, it's a normal. It comes to us when we're adults, and that's how you'll see more prosperous and healthy communities.
Audience, you heard it from Mr. RAYSEAN Ford. We appreciate you coming on the show today. We're going to close out with you. But America, specifically Black America, we are in a mental war. And if we are not mentally prepared for this war, we will lose. Talking to a doctor of psychology, a psychologist, is not a bad thing. RAYSEAN, you have articulated the fibers, the foundation that's going to keep Black America strong. And we appreciate you coming on the show today. As we close out today, I would like to say a word from our sponsor. Looking for a new barrier home, please reach out to Tammy Willis of Willis Real Estate Broker. She has a magnificent real estate practice and has just sold a home in San Leandro for over $100,000 of the asking price. So that's Tammy Willis Broker. Please reach out to her, and she's one of our sponsors. We all miss her soothing presence, our sister and show contributor since the inception, Dr. Ashley Coleman, Doctor of Psychology, and Therapeutic Thursday. We got another Therapeutic Thursday with Mr. RAYSEAN Ford. We want to continue to her dedication to mental health. As a mental health reminder for our audience today, here are a few important resource numbers. The new 988 is the suicide crisis lifeline. And once again, that number is 988, the suicide crisis and Suicide Lifeline. And it's available 24 hours a day. You can text or chat them. Women looking for a therapist, therapy for blackgirls.com. And men looking for a therapist, therapy for blackmen.org. Please, please reach out to these organizations, and they are also on the previous show to contact them. And stop, don't let your pride take you for a bad ride. You like that, Rashad?
I love it. I love it. Well said.
Don't let your pride take you or your children for a bad ride. Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Donnie Glover, for the honor of the Black Business Roundtable, being a part of your growing network dedicated to bringing the real, unfiltered news before the news. Hashtag BlackUSA.News. Hashtag Donnie Glover. BeatMoreNews.com. BlackUSA.News.com. DonnieGlover.com. Twitter.com/Donnie Glover. See other shows under his media umbrella: Chap and Friends, Party Marty, Let's Talk, Black USA Crypto News with Kamal Hubbard, which is my brother, an outstanding man who knows about crypto news. Also, Blackout Live from New York with Tasemer, who will be coming back soon and is going to be helping me moderate some shows on Black Business Roundtable. 60 Minutes in Black USA with my brother, my friend, Michael Haynie. BlackUSA.News morning show, Donnie Glover show, Shared Spaces, Frontline News, Troy Rawlings show, and the Beverly Smith show, and more on BlackUSA.News. Audience, thank you for continuing to share hashtag Stand with Carlton of Raleigh, North Carolina 2022. And in prison, young black man entrepreneur that worked as a professional in tattoo artistry with his own brick and mortar storefront with celebrity clients, not only in North Carolina, but in other states. He was in prison. Yes, another black man in prison for self-defense when threatened with bodily harm, along with his patron in his business establishment. Please listen to the backstory of Carlton. The link is in the podcast below, and my producer is not here today, so I'm trying to multitask, but you can also see it on previous shows, the YouTube, and listen to the background story. Thank you, audience, for your thoughts, prayers, messages, and donations for Carlton. Also, thank you here in Northern California for supporting hashtag Justice for Enzo, the Husky in Lodi, an animal advocate, the Chris Kelly Foundation, based in Southern California. Continue with hashtag Boycott Lodi CA, Boycott Lodi wine, and have many choices. Yes, we have many choices in the wine purchases other than the 80+ winemakers in Lodi or Joaquin County area. The new series called Lodi, based on a story in Lodi, California during the 70s, starting with Ewan McGregor, filming in Lodi, California. Your entire film crew may be supporting Lodi police, as the production will need to hire security, which could employ the very agency, Lodi police, that tased a family dog. Now, we all have had animals. Can you imagine your police come in, tasing your dog to death, and then dragging them down the street? So we want to support Enzo while animal control noosed him and drug him down the street in front of witnesses. Google Justice for the Husky and see the chilling, oh yes, the chilling video for yourself and share it. The video has made it to Europe, New Zealand, and beyond. There is a GoFundMe and petition as well. If you want to be in the know and reach our audience, then join our BBRT advertising family or to be a possible guest on the show. Reach us via our email, bbrt2021@hotmail.com. Include your company name, address, website, company phone number, and social media page to our email at bbrt2021@hotmail.com for vetting consideration. Audience, help us grow. Be a viewer, share it with your friends, talk to your family, because if we don't make our own, Black people spend $1.5 trillion in this country.
Mm.
And how are our dollars respected by people who run this country? If we took a third of $1.5 trillion, that's 500 billion, not million. That's $500 billion. And I include spending the money on Black men and women therapists. Because if your child is getting therapy by somebody who don't know them, they're not getting therapy.
Mm.
If your child is getting therapy by somebody who can't relate to them, that is not therapy. So once again, audience, help us grow by sharing our podcast and following us on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Tune in Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the BlackUSA.News network, on YouTube, Facebook, and live on Instagram. Meet us after the show on Instagram Live. Art Blacksher, new segment, Doug's podcast wrap up. And I just want to take a few minutes. I had a meeting, or I was interviewed by NPSR, National Press Services, KQED, yesterday. The young lady started off, we were going to meet for a half hour. She left. She got here at 5:30 and left here at 7:30. That shows you how interesting it was. We talked about the state of Oakland, the mayor, and our next communication will be talking about the Alameda County District Attorney. We need to keep informed politically, because the reason why people in areas other than the flatland get services and police protection and clean park and working park apparatus is because the white people in the hills, they vote. I don't care how much money a politician has. If you don't get voted in, you out. So vote, vote, vote. Tune in Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 7 p.m. East Coast Time on the Black USA Network on YouTube, Facebook, and live on Instagram. Meet us after the show on Instagram Live. Art Blacksher segment, Doug podcast wrap up. Remember, and I want to be very clear when I say remember, because we don't remember. Remember, together, and I do mean together, because the Asian population, the white population, the Mexican population, the Indian population, the African, and I'm talking about people who truly recently come from, they spend their money in their community. We have to start spending our money in our community. If you take $1.5 trillion and and take a third of that. That's $500 million. Do you know what that would do for our community? Give us political power, give us economic stability, and a lot more. So remember, listen. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I was wrong. Listen, learn, and share. Because I know you care. And Doctor, and I'm going to call you doctor because the way you're going to be a doctor real soon. Remember, together, we can make it. And if we're not together, divided, we will be conquered.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank you, Mr. RAYSEAN Ford. I hope you come back. The ambiance, the presence that you have given us today shows not just Oakland, Alameda County, state of California, but all across the United States, Atlanta, Chicago, Boston, New York, Atlanta, Florida. They show us that we have hope. We have powerful Black men like yourself keeping us together and that we can make it. Thank you, young man.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, man. I appreciate you.
We'll see. Hey, we'll see you soon.
Right, for sure, for sure. You take care.
I know you care because we all are in this fight together. This is Doug Blacksher and Dr. Ashley Coleman, and hopefully, Mr. RAYSEAN Ford coming back to show how important it is to be mentally prepared to win this war in Black America. We look forward to seeing you again. God bless and good night.
God bless. Take care.